Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. A support or foundation. An interruption of normal activity. A booth where articles are displayed for sale. A platform where a brass band can play in the open air. Hold one's ground. Maintain a position. Be steadfast or upright. I am standing my ground and won't give in. A support for displaying various articles. A mental position from which things are viewed. Withstand the force of something. Stand the test of time. Put into an upright position. Can you stand the bookshelf up? Be standing. Be upright. We had to stand for the entire performance. A defensive effort. The army made a final stand at the Rhone. A growth of similar plants, usually trees, in a particular area. They cut down a stand of trees. A small table for holding articles of various kinds. A bedside stand. A stop made by a touring musical or theatrical group to give a performance. A one-night stand. Be available for stud services. Be in effect. Be or remain in force. The law stands. Be in some specified state or condition. I stand corrected. Be tall. Have a height of, copula. She stands 6 feet tall. Have or maintain a position or stand on an issue. Where do you stand on the war? Occupy a place or location, also metaphorically. We stand on common ground. Remain inactive or immobile. Standing water. The position where a thing or person stands. Tiered seats consisting of a structure, often made of wood, where people can sit to watch an event, game or parade. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. Dwell. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. I cannot bear his constant criticism. Have on one's person. Bear a scar. Bring forth. Take on as one's own the expenses or debts of another person. She agreed to bear the responsibility. Behave in a certain manner. Cause to be born. Have rightfully. Of rights, titles, and offices. She bears the title of Duchess. Contain or hold. Have within. Bring in. Interest-bearing accounts. Support or hold in a certain manner. Be pregnant with. She is bearing his child. An investor with a pessimistic market outlook. An investor who expects prices to fall and so sells now in order to buy later at a lower price. Have. Bear a resemblance. Massive plantigrade carnivorous or omnivorous mammals with long shaggy coats and strong claws. Move while holding up or supporting. Bear a heavy load. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. A natural stream of water smaller than a river, and often a tributary of a river. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. Make more concise. Something that is compiled, as into a single book or file. A periodical that summarizes the news. Arrange and integrate in the mind. I cannot digest all this information. Become assimilated into the body. Protein digests in a few hours. Convert food into absorbable substances. I cannot digest milk products. Soften or disintegrate, as by undergoing exposure to heat or moisture. Soften or disintegrate by means of chemical action, heat, or moisture. Systematize, as by classifying and summarizing. The government digested the entire law into a code. Persist for a specified period of time. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. The new secretary had to endure a lot of unprofessional remarks. Continue to live and avoid dying. Undergo or be subjected to. Face and withstand with courage. Continue to exist. The Legend of Elvis and Durs. Last and be usable. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. Provide housing for. Provide. The city has to put up half the required amount. Place so as to be noticed. Mount or put up. Put up a good fight. Construct, build, or erect. Propose as a candidate for some honor. Preserve in a can or tin. Make available for sale at an auction. The dealer put up 3 of his most valuable paintings for auction. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. Extend out or project in space. Be highly noticeable. The region of the body of a vertebrate between the thorax and the pelvis. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. An enlarged and muscular sac-like organ of the alimentary canal, the principal organ of digestion. An appetite for food. Exercise gave him a good stomach for dinner. An inclination or liking for things involving conflict or difficulty or unpleasantness. He had no stomach for a fight. Bear to eat. He cannot stomach raw fish. Feel physical pain. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. Undergo, as of injuries and illnesses. She suffered a fracture in the accident. Be set at a disadvantage. This author really suffers in translation. Feel pain or be in pain. Undergo or suffer. Suffer a terrible fate. Undergo or be subjected to. He suffered the penalty. Be given to. She suffers from a tendency to talk too much. Experience emotional pain. Every time her husband gets drunk, she suffers. Feel unwell or uncomfortable. She is suffering from the hot weather. Get worse. His grades suffered. Financial resources provided to make some project possible. The foundation provided support for the experiment. Argue or speak in defense of. She supported the motion to strike. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. A military operation, often involving new supplies of men and materiel, to strengthen a military force or aid in the performance of its mission. They called for artillery support. Be the physical support of, carry the weight of. He supported me with one hand while I balanced on the beam. Adopt as a belief. The financial means whereby one lives. He applied to the state for support. A musical part, vocal or instrumental, that supports or provides background for other musical parts. The act of bearing the weight of or strengthening. He leaned against the wall for support. Be a regular customer or client of. Documentary validation. The strongest support for this view is the work of Jones. Establish or strengthen as with new evidence or facts. The evidence supports the defendant. Be behind. Approve of. Support with evidence or authority or make more certain or confirm. Give moral or psychological support, aid, or courage to. She supported him during the illness. Aiding the cause or policy or interests of. The president no longer has the support of his own party. Any device that bears the weight of another thing. There was no place to attach supports for a shelf. Play a subordinate role to another performer. Olivier supported Gielgud beautifully in the second act. Something providing immaterial assistance to a person or cause or interest. The policy found little public support. Supporting structure that holds up or provides a foundation. The statue stood on a marble support. Support materially or financially. He does not support his natural children. The activity of providing for or maintaining by supplying with money or necessities. His support kept the family together. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. He learned to tolerate the heat. Allow the presence of or allow an activity, without opposing or prohibiting. We cannot tolerate smoking in the hospital. Have a tolerance for a poison or strong drug or pathogen or environmental condition. The patient does not tolerate the anti-inflammatory drugs we gave him. Recognize and respect rights and beliefs of others. We must tolerate the religions of others. A terrorist network intensely opposed to the United States that dispenses money and logistical support and training to a wide variety of radical Islamic terrorist groups, has cells in more than 50 countries. Of low birth or station, base, is archaic in this sense. Baseborn wretches with dirty faces. Use purified cocaine, by burning it and inhaling the fumes. Lowest support of a structure. It was built on a base of solid rock. A support or foundation. The base of the lamp. The most important or necessary part of something. A place that the runner must touch before scoring. Illegitimate. Numeration system, the positive integer that is equivalent to 1 in the next higher counting place. A phosphoric ester of a nucleoside, the basic structural unit of nucleic acids, DNA or RNA. A lower limit. Serving as or forming a base. The painter applied a base coat followed by 2 finishing coats. The fundamental assumptions from which something is begun or developed or calculated or explained. Linguistics, the form of a word after all affixes are removed. The place where you are stationed and from which missions start and end. The stock of basic facilities and capital equipment needed for the functioning of a country or area. The industrial base of Japan. Having or showing an ignoble lack of honor or morality. That liberal obedience without which your army would be a base rabble. Any of various water-soluble compounds capable of turning litmus blue and reacting with an acid to form a salt and water. Bases include oxides and hydroxides of metals and ammonia. Not adhering to ethical or moral principles. Base and unpatriotic motives. Installation from which a military force initiates operations. The attack wiped out our forward bases. Use as a basis for, found on. Base a claim on some observation. A flat bottom on which something is intended to sit. A tub should sit on its own base. Anatomy, the part of an organ nearest its point of attachment. The base of the skull. Debased, not genuine. An attempt to eliminate the base coinage. Electronics, the part of a transistor that separates the emitter from the collector. Situate as a center of operations. We will base this project in the new lab. The bottom or lowest part. The base of the mountain. The bottom side of a geometric figure from which the altitude can be constructed. The base of the triangle. The principal ingredient of a mixture. Glycerinated gelatin is used as a base for many ointments. Used of metals, consisting of or alloyed with inferior metal. Base coins of aluminum. A support or foundation. An architectural support or base, as for a column or statue. A position of great esteem, and supposed superiority. They put him on a pedestal. A situation in which no progress can be made or no advancement is possible. An interruption of normal activity. A social or business relationship. An interruption of normal activity. A booth where articles are displayed for sale. Postpone doing what one should be doing. Small individual study area in a library. A booth where articles are displayed for sale. Come to a stop. The car stalled in the driveway. Small area set off by walls for special use. A tactic used to mislead or delay. A compartment in a stable where a single animal is confined and fed. A malfunction in the flight of an aircraft in which there is a sudden loss of lift that results in a downward plunge. The plane went into a stall and I couldn't control it. Cause an airplane to go into a stall. Cause an engine to stop. The inexperienced driver kept stalling the car. Deliberately delay an event or action. She doesn't want to write the report, so she is stalling. Experience a stall in flight, of airplanes. Put into, or keep in, a stall. Seating in the forward part of the main level of a theater. A platform where a brass band can play in the open air. A platform where a brass band can play in the open air. Hold one's ground. Maintain a position. Be steadfast or upright. An instrument of torture that stretches or disjoints or mutilates victims. Torment emotionally or mentally. A support for displaying various articles. The newspapers were arranged on a rack. Go at a rack. A rapid gait of a horse in which each foot strikes the ground separately. The destruction or collapse of something. Rack and ruin. Obtain by coercion or intimidation. Run before a gale. A form of torture in which pain is inflicted by stretching the body. Draw off from the lees. Rack wine. Fly in high wind. Framework for holding objects. Put on a rack and pinion. Rack a camera. Rib section of a forequarter of veal or pork or especially lamb or mutton. Seize together, as of parallel ropes of a tackle in order to prevent running through the block. Stretch to the limits. Rack one's brains. Torture on the rack. Work on a rack. Rack leather. A mental position from which things are viewed. Teaching history gave him a special point of view toward current events. The spatial property of the position from which something is observed. A mental position from which things are viewed. A place from which something can be viewed. A mental position from which things are viewed. We should consider this problem from the viewpoint of the Russians. Withstand the force of something. The mountain climbers had to fend against the ice and snow. Try to manage without help. The youngsters had to fend for themselves after their parents died. Stand up or offer resistance to somebody or something. Resist immunologically the introduction of some foreign tissue or organ. Withstand the force of something. The trees resisted her. Elude, especially in a baffling way. Express opposition through action or words. Refuse to comply. Put into an upright position. Rise up as in fear. Put into an upright position. Resist or withstand wear, criticism, etc. Defend against attack or criticism. Be standing, be upright. Rise to one's feet. Refuse to back down. Remain solid under criticism or attack. Stand up or offer resistance to somebody or something. Refuse to abandon one's opinion or belief. Be loyal to. Be available or ready for a certain function or service. Not act or do anything.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.